applications as well as business research and industry perspective. So when I was just preparing for this, what to be told, what not to be told, first thing which I came to know is that in this article, first we think about skipping the app because we are predominantly used to that. Now section skip you would have already done it. You got the necessary information, you thought you would have already skipped it. But who is actually using the skip app? And since in your daily life, you skip apps and that significance. What do they do? How do you use it? Even wallpapers they are doing it. So why do they actually come? What is the relevance of that? So basically, what is this? There is something here. There is an ad. What is ad is all about? So why do they have to advertise? Advertising the guy. You're not going to buy. You're not going to do it, right? Why are they doing it?
Awareness. To create awareness.
To create awareness. Okay, good. Anything add that?
Publicity.
Publicity. Anything add that? Visualization. Okay, visualization. I'm agreeing to all the points what you have told me. So the idea is that this device belongs to a particular person. Now, you get the ad then you can get the other classic example I just did. Ladies first. In the everyday stage you are basically a student or faculty or research pro. In the when you load the Bible, wherever you are residing, you are coming in here. And the flex and signboards and the this is ad boards, billboards. What do you call it? Is a billboard. And the I didn't know this. Fine, agree, right? This is what is basically happening here. So the purpose behind this, they are doing these billboards out of $100 billion. They are putting crores and crores of amount of money and doing it. But nobody is, it is not reaching. It is not getting targeted to a particular segment. But when it comes to your mobile phone, at least when in class during our training session for sales people, what we tell them is that you keep your mobile phone in silent mode and keep it upside down. In that mode, I know. When I training, what I do is that training is training phone. It will tell that how facilitating and same thing is what is basically happening here. So same thing is applicable here. But this involves a lot of in the sense machine learning etc. involved here. Why? Because the age group is different, your age group is different, your ethnicity is different. The place at which you reside, the place where you etc. is totally different. But the point is that there are kind of publicity, in a brand, focus in they are just trying to put a point. So, who is the audience in here? Are an audience about? Audience. He added the audience of mobile users. Okay, mobile users agree. So, mobile users is something like it is working like a billboard only, right? But of course, it's a signboard then here. Which is the difference? What is the difference? Targeting. So, how targeting? Because mobile phone has the targeting and information. So how can a demography split there? Somebody search history. Agreed. Anything other than that? Anything other than that? Anything other than that? Location. Every location we will do. This will be very good. Location for field work in sales team, factory work, we will use geotag. Hospital active. So we will ensure that. Other if they start to for ad. So these are the things what is doing it. So in this instance, whenever we are logging into any pages or whenever you are doing, for example, YouTube, you are going to get your username, you are going to get your date of birth. And in this instance, at least a year birth date of birth. Then what are the things do they collect? And they getting collected here. At least age they have preference. At least to an extent they are looking at political inclination so these information are getting into the system. So based on this, get an that is basically targeting basically models here. So just quickly going to that. So this is what I was doing. We have 120 seconds in ad. But if the current system, what is doing that? First 6 seconds in ad skip. So we are fighting for the 6 seconds. Initially 6 seconds. Other than already plugins in Telegram, even Autobots are there. Other OD is browser ad skip you. So what the people who are in us, what do we do is that we get the 6 seconds. 6 seconds content. 6 seconds content. Sure. So 6 seconds content. So cinematic over 5 seconds, 10 seconds review. So what the people want instant solutions. So we do not have patience. All have the patience. So mobile phone using patience. So this is the information that is going. So 6 seconds is important for what? 6 seconds is important for what?
Conveying the message.
Conveying the message. That is one part. Next thing is that whom are we going to convey? Are my targets correct? I will classic example and put there. You will have a phone by using continuous and hours to the way around. I will move to you will just session once you go out, just it will automatically give. Location tagging something. So even the speaker phones, even the speakers that are here, it's already inbuilt. Inbuilt even the Apple or they are also doing the same. I was in a bar open. So they are collecting day in and day out information. Three information so they are this post. Information amortizing go. Where is this information going on? Information amortizing go. Phone in this information amortizing go. Servers. So what are the servers do? And those cloud agreed. High-fi layman's language, speaking that. Business interest, that is correct. Business interest. What is business interest? Business is a main motive. Profit is one aspect. So money needs to be here. So how do you add and though it attracts, correct? It attracts
the customers to buy, the audience to buy.
Correct. It attracts. So that is getting clear, right? So that is what aspect that they are trying to do. Over ads, basically Instagram how much time you are spending in the milliseconds you are doing. All this information is captured. YouTube majority content 40% of the English content YouTube the other contents are. With three stacking how do they give it to you? So how do they cater to individual personalities, individual people? Voting pattern is in a different area. Okay, totally different area. But how does the system learn that Bhadraj as a person myself require this? So that is one aspect search is making to that. Then next is what are we searching in? What are we searching in? So these are all information that collected. These information are collected and a pattern is being analyzed. So end matter is that what is right. So we need to do a business out of it. Okay, we need to get revenue out of it. So how are you going to do that? So I am going to briefly explain on various platforms or various systems that is being doing. I am not going to talk anything about system, machine language, etc. I am going to tell you what are applications in a real life scenario they have done. So this is one aspect. That 65% of people basically skipping the ad. Any ad but I can skip the ad. So what is the option? What does YouTube do?
Compulsory you have to see that.
Compulsory you have to do. But they understood that there are majority of people who wanted or who do not want to do it. Okay, something like we have a Rolls Royce, we have a Maruti 800 also. So customers are there. So something like people who are premium, use the word premium. So what do they do? I have premium customers. What do they actually do?
No ads. No ads for them.
No ads for that. But still, they wanted to show them the ad because YouTube, in order to sustain, they require an ad. They need to put an ad, right? About 100% what will do 6 seconds? 6 seconds premium customer So what do? They are given an option for skipping the ad. So RK skip here on the premium customers they give an option as a premium subscriber. Okay, premium subscriber. Even for this premium subscriber, that 1 to 6 seconds they are going to take it. So that is what we motivate here. So the whole idea is that they first build an ecosystem. Okay, first an ecosystem on life. So anything that is given free to a customer, who is the product in here? Customer, end user. Customer so who is the product? Who is the product? Any social media, who is the product? No. We are not the I because personalization. So I am a concept basically narcissism. I. So what does it do that? Then I know how listens people. Captive audience. We need to bring in captive audience. In the training research YouTube we can do that, right? When you bring in a captivity, so we give them a frame of mind. So if fixed time you are going to do this. Right? So what do they do that? They understood that India is so currently we are one of the subscriber basis we are one of the biggest and largest in the country. Then somewhere around 491 million. After the body which had come, Argentina population after my phone number. So it's a captive audience in YouTube. Basically, I put it this way out. So any case, I am wrong. I am also meeting a friend flex editor. I am in the Gaichu. I am in the Daki. And the TV flex of Macha and a dog. And a meeting a friend. I don't know. This is what we do in Instagram and Facebook, right? They are not doing our meeting a friend is easily correct, right? So this is what they do. They are helping us. They are basically so it is like taming the animals. They are basically taming. So systems are basically taming. So other than you take all your profiles, demographic profiles, your even Aadhaar card where we started link. So all this information, even retinal scanners, fingers, we use mobile phones and the facial scanners. Basically, we identity. So we started something on neural mapping. Basically, if you want to live, you just connect it with something matrix. So pilot studies, Parkinson's, disease, brain dead, we are trying to do that. And our system is already there, but it makes in stages, something what we call as metaverse. So that is also we are moving towards that. So the point that I want to drive in here is that the amount of data is huge, but how to make money out of it. So that is what in here you bring in a captive audience. Even on a phone, you are installing a lot of apps, right? There are apps in there. But you have mobile phone in there, what's up agreed? Why? How? It will agree. Habits is agreed. I am agreeing to the point that habits. But something known as sting, something ringtone is there, notification is there. So why do we require notification? Why do we require notification? Reinforcement. What is the reinforcement? In the Padicha, you 5-star tara. So every 10 minutes, every 25 minutes, every 15 minutes, ding. So you get a dopamine surge, what we call as a dopamine surge. That is not but see, flexibility in front of change that is what has been done. So your profile is done. What do we want? What you do not like? Even they did this. Immediately, if I want to have a status, what's the status? So why do you require what's the status in the why do we require what's the status? What's the status of this? Hello? They start to do a patterning analysis. They do a patterning analysis. Other than you will start to get ads. So that is what our business and all is. Okay. So that is what then there are nearly around 5 million. Another interesting fact, the second most subscribed Indian T-series in India. T-series is ഏറ്റവും ഭക്തിഗാനങ്ങൾക്കാണ് സ്കോപ്പ് കൂടുതലോ ഭക്തിഗാനങ്ങൾക്കാണ് T-series ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ കാണുന്നതാണ് various studies പറയുന്നത്. Even the market report is listing that for religious songs is being most listened in that. Okay, so they bring in a captive audience and you have been bombarded with a lot of ideas or a lot of brands. So why the brand and all this are in the why do we require brands? Brand in the name. Marketing class brand. Why do we require a brand? Unique identity. Unique identity. So why do we require a unique identity? Distinguish from competitors. Agreed. So ultimately, what I'm agreeing to all the points. ഒരു ഓട്ടോയിൽ നിന്ന് ഇറങ്ങുന്നു അവര് 50 രൂപ 100 രൂപ പറയുന്നു ഒരു 50-10 പൈസ നമുക്ക് അങ്ങോട്ട് ബാർഗൈൻ ചെയ്ത് കുറയ്ക്കാം പക്ഷെ ഒരു ബ്രാൻഡ് ആണെങ്കിലോ ഓല ഊബറൊക്കെ ആണെങ്കിൽ അങ്ങനെ ബാർഗൈൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല എന്ന് ആരും പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. So that is what ഒരു disparity വരാൻ പാടില്ല. When you are comparing, you need to have a comparator, right? So when you are building a brand, it is basically Alan Sodi, Rolls Royce compare ചെയ്യാൻ പാടില്ല എന്നുള്ള informations it has been bombarded through various ways. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ബന്ധമുണ്ടാവുക we are trained, we are planned to doing that. എന്നാലും ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു ഓഫീസിന് വേണ്ടി വാങ്ങിക്കണമെങ്കിലും റോൾസ് റോയ്സ് ആണെങ്കിലും ബാർഗൈൻ ചെയ്യണം to do that. So the idea is that in order to avoid that competition, like comparison, where our parameters are micron, what we got is a point of disparity and this point of parity. So that is what is being done. So this is what I was told. There is an option for a jump ahead. So this pattern, once you jump, it will be skipped a particular time frame. So this is given for basically for premium subscribers. So a premium the end users should recognize this as a premium. And the end users premium reasons why should they believe that this is a premium? Ads skipping by Asian news channels ads skipping are we giving? So that is the power that they have given. So that is what. So in picture what they have done is that they have understood our patterns. They have understood our patterns based on a pattern that without YouTube or without the social media, all your demographics, whatever that the machine has told, it will be starting to form. It will start to form. Now here, then there is something known as even the contents that we upload in the YouTube. Now there is a cross-checking with regard to that. Even if AI using the tools, they start to do that. I think the publishing company in YouTube will join this since publishing houses, journal publishing group, AI which are they start to do that. Or else you will have to disclose. Like revenue AI contents, AI based they start to do that, you will disclose it, and there is a revenue share cut for this. So all this is being done. So whenever you are going to upload anything, who is actually checking it? YouTube have the contents upload here. Who is going to check? Algorithm will be checking. So on what parameters will they check? Our captive audiences belong to this categories. In this, blood is recognized as a wrong term. So anything that is having blood first criteria. Next thing is that abusive enough. Next thing is that 18 years plus. So all these parameters based on this ecosystem they have derived and the AI is being doing it. Despite doing it, certain videos even the AI is not able to capture it, right? So other manual contenters will be there to moderate them. So the whole idea is that AI is used to understand a pattern. For getting a pattern, they have already collected all your profiles, starting from mine, including myself, the date of birth, then what is the daily preference, what is every second I am going to search. Before I am going to do that, they will be doing it. On specific occasions, people who are booking Rapido or Ola. In the sense, office time, they will not be able to realize it properly. Office time, in the sense, people are going for office timings. Correct at that particular time slot, that notification will come. If you are going to do this, you are going to get an additional benefit. And if the app knows that you are using a competitor, also it will also pop in the similar way. So this much amount of information somebody is seeing and somebody is learning it, and it is putting up. So this is what business is all about. This is how that business is coming into the picture. Now, so this thing got really famous during the COVID times. When the COVID came, our office, we have around nearly around 400 plus people in there. We don't know what, like 21 days, what should be done with the employees, field employees. Basically, COVID is something that you have experience in the what do you do? College learning, faculty, and what was the experience? Online classes. We also did the same, online. So morning, in the sense, we started exact 9 till 12, we do the training sessions. Then this lunch break time, that 1 to 2, we give them the exam, hold. So that's what we're doing. So when these things, when the group started to do that, so what did they do is that they also added the AI companion into it. Now what is happening is that if I'm doing a meeting, if there is more than 5 people or 100 people in there, if you add there is an option known as AI companion. Once you activate the AI companion, the meeting join ചെയ്തില്ല വേറെ കാരണം പോയി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വേറെ കോൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു വേറെ എന്തെങ്കിലും പോയി. So you don't know what happened in the meeting. You go to the AI companion chat, you give them what was the meeting, what has been told, whether my name was mentioned. എന്ന് പറയാ I will tell that so and so person mentioned your name. Then you will have an idea. അപ്പോൾ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യാ ഈ ക്യാമറ ഓൺ ചെയ്യുന്നു എടുക്കുന്നു സാർ കോൾ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു നെറ്റ്വർക്ക് ഡാമേജ് ആയിരുന്നു സാർ മീറ്റിംഗ് ഇതല്ലേ so you discuss these points, right? So I am going to do this. This is the pattern that has been developed here. When we are doing classes, right? When we are doing classes, so when we are doing classes, I cannot tell you the field stuff, right? You are not supposed to use mobile phone. അവരും ചെക്ക് ചെയ്യും അവരെന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഗെയിം കൂടെ എയിലുള്ള ചാറ്റ് ഓൺ ചെയ്തിട്ട് വോയിസ് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ്സിനെ കുറിച്ച് പറയും സംശയങ്ങൾ പടപടപടാന്നിരിക്കും. ഇതുവരെ മെഡിക്കൽ ടേമിനോളജി ഇത്രയും അറിയാവുന്ന ആൾക്കാരൊന്നും മനസ്സിലാവുന്ന സമയമാണ്. So whatever it is that they will do that also. Now what is that? When you record all these videos, and in the end, if you ask them to compile and you need to tell what all information did I share, it will automatically tell you. When I am in class, I will tell you a simple example. This is a record here. Then you upload to any of the ChatGPT. Or I will discuss one more thing that is known as a notebook LLM. You just upload this audio into that and you just ask the notebook, in the sense Google LLM to tell that what Bhadraj has discussed, what are the things that I need to take it forward with regard to my research or something, etc. etc. So it is going to tell. So this is the application level that they are going to do this. Then one more thing is that when we are doing is that there is an option known as on a normal PDF or like documents on them. You have an option known as doc. So once you go there, it is something equivalent to your Microsoft in the sense document, Word document. So after the class, if I need to give a question, you just plug in there and you just on the mic and you just tell that whatever sessions I told, generate me 20 questions based on whatever session that I have taken. So it will automatically generate the questions based on the words that I have used. So that is the level at which it is. Now this particular thing is available only for pro version. Why I told is that constantly when we are attending meetings, we wanted to have a lot of platforms. If I have platform in ChatGPT, we use Bhadraj. So this is one platform which I found that it is useful. Basically, people are running the corporate, it will be easy because Zoom is day in and day out is there. So you can use it there, you can get to summarize. You can get a summary. Even it can change you the video. Video for Pro, I suppose, is only 3 minutes. Multiple videos, from other language, you can give any language for 3 minutes, cut short and tell you. Because when you are doing any kind of class within if you have pupils or professors, and if your campus is allowing you to take an enterprise, that particular Zoom option. So you can build in that particular class, and you can log it, and you can create a snippet. So the idea is that it itself will tell you, and it will give you the timeline. This will be your introduction, this will be your this particular session, this will be your conclusion. So this is what is being done. So this is why many of the times when all these apps etc. they take feedbacks, right? They take feedback. Somebody feedback thumbs up, so based on these information they collect this, and the machine starts to learn all this, and this is an application that is being used. Then comes this is what I was telling about. There is a particular tool that is known as Google Notebook LLM, which I use. Can you see the comfortable? I don't know. Background using I use. Why was yeah. Basically, this is the and since you are having a device, and whatever that PDF is there, 100 PDF, etc. Before telling you that, I use the enterprise version of the whatever I have, I have 2 SIMs. So I created 2 Google accounts. Okay, and my wife is also having 2 SIMs. I created 4 accounts. So totally I get 400, 500 literature I can upload. And my idea is that to get maximum amount of information without paying less. So one account on the 100 literatures you will be able to upload this PDF. Then what does this PDF does is that this PDF will be converted into audio files. It is like an interview or a podcast. And once this podcast is done, this will other than you will be able to give multiple voices. In the sense male, female, male. So this conversation will be there. So the biggest advantage is that you hear music, right? For classes, even training sessions before I do this, I plug in there. So I get an idea what to be told, what not to be told. Then, if the whatever information, if a machine learning terms and conditions are some over here. So I am certain notes which is being given. If it is telling that whatever information what you are rightly told with regard to this context is wrong, and then if you are giving input, it will again go back, it will again recheck. So it will tell that you are absolutely right with reference to this particular segment. This reference it seems to be correct or it seems to be wrong. It will also confront, it will also debate. So this is being done as that this is a personalized one. This is how they are going to make money. Personalized type of solutions are important. So this is going to be a person. Mine might be business aspect, yours might be operation research, somebody's might be an economics. So this is what is being done. So the idea is that how to get maximum amount of information in less time. Why people are going towards AI? In the sense, I will put it in the question, I will rephrase the questions. Why do researchers or students or faculties or even industries going towards AI? Why should they go? Hello? Time. Anything on that?
Cost saving.
Cost. We are the product. We are the product. We are free. We are so cost is an aspect. If free and development, anything on that?
Efforts.
Efforts. Okay, efforts. Now, why do you tell it as efforts?
Because I can do tasks multiple more than humans.
Correct.
Like, if you need 10 humans to make something, AI can do it with one AI.
Yeah. Can I debate? Can I over argue? Can I debate on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Any programmers or coders are in this here? Any coders, programmers, anybody here? I don't know. No. Oh, I didn't know the question. So you are writing, we are developing an autonomous car. A car listen, we are going to drive a car. Okay. Generally, when we are driving a car, and it's an average driver. If you are a driver, in the sense, will you think that next is the road coming in, the other person is running down, the other person. Somebody is actually saying, right? So the same thing if you are writing a code, how many lines you have to write? How many lines you have to write? So that is one aspect. That is what you are trying to explain. So the efforts. Next thing is that some of the interesting facts which I ended with that. Where are the signs we do? Where are department to go to? So when the resources with somebody else, the people who are experienced, when we are going and asking, every time they are not going to give a proper solution or an answer. Okay. Now next thing is the time. Next thing is the effort. So when you are clicking in here, you are getting an information. So this is one aspect that majority of people are trying to do. So because of AI, we got more amount of disinformation or misinformation. Google family group I can health in the course of action in a heart attack. The goal of there is no science, I don't know. But see, somebody is creating it, somebody is sending it, right? So whether to choose this one, whether to choose that one. There comes that logical sense that so A will be there, but this should be there. So this is going to exist. So how to use is the critical aspect that is being here. So this is a particular tool where which the researchers will be able to upload the information and you will be able to get an audio note, and whatever information that you are going to get out of it, you just put it in the chat GPT and ask that what are the possible research questions I get. But to an extent that other plagiarism compatibility when you are going to upload to any of the sites, they are going to ask that have you used any kind of AI tools? Upload paper retraction. So anything to be used as a caution. So that is in here. In corporate, what you write to the decision is important fact. Why? Because whatever information that I am going to give to my superiors, based on that, they are going to take a decision. So that decision involves money. If the information that I am sharing here is wrong, or if they make a decision incorrect, what is going to be the impact? Impact on the idea. It will, the revenue can come down, employees might be one of the reasons. But in case of research, the idea is that whatever information that we are capturing here, in long run, retraction because AI is used in the way. So how to use it wisely is what one of the aspects that is in there. For research, somebody said this is one tool which I found it a useful one. Now, when it comes to the business as well as research, in the key idea I am looking for a particular word. Password. Why password? Research is research. When you are starting research, what is the first thing that you learn? And keyword. Oh, keyword. Why keyword? Why keyword? Why keyword? Why keyword?
For search.
Search. Why do so when you give a keyword, will it ensure that it is going to give you the right result?
Yes, it will.
It will give. So we don't have any direction, right? When we don't have any direction, what is the first thing when you do that? Our topic related, we just put it, pump in something. Okay? It can be a keyword. Then you will get a proper paper. Then you look at the keyword in there. Then you try to do this. The same thing when it comes to business aspects. Some of the research paper which the business is solving, but certain times it can solve, certain times it may not be getting solved. So business, what is needed for business aspect in the agreement? Class in the sense a particular word or class they are trying to add something, forget something. So somebody will give something, right? Prompt. So what is basically prompt? What is basically prompt? Yeah. What is basically prompt? Coming. Prompt. If anybody in here is able to crack this, you are going to be the next Sam. You know that you have a problem in hand and you have a system in there which is having all the information that has been done. But neither myself nor the system does not know how to communicate to this and get the right information. So you are going to give the right information. In the same situation here. Machine learning machine code if you tell write me a code for this other code write okay, prompting exam listen, when we are writing an exam or taking a class, one particular so I get that prompting is there for me. So why do we use A or prompt keyword? So this is what we do. Our system has the information. How do we grab it? So what we call as a prompt. You need to prompt. You need to probe them. So how to ask a good question or how to ask a right question in the way which the machines understand is what we call prompter learning. So this is what is called prompt. I don't know sound to very well.
Prompt engineering is not a big thing. I think clarity of thought is very important. My friend was telling me this when he comes to design school. He showed me painting. He's like, do you know what this painting style is called? I was like, I have no idea. If you want to prompt this, what would you say? I said, okay, it's a painting with these kind of brush strokes. He's like, it's Rembrandt. That's the thing about prompting. He said, you have a spell book. You can cast any spell you want. And many people like you and me, because we've studied enough, use the spell book without opening the book. So knowing these words, knowing history, knowing what would happen if tweet, right, which says the industrial revolution rewarded the intensity of one's labor, the information age, the clarity of one's thought, the AI revolution, the purity of one's taste. Heuristics. And you need to know the words, you need to know what that thing is called, because you can't conjure something that you don't know. Give it a very lousy description that, oh, I'm looking for a game with this, that, or I could just say I want a Valorant copy.
What is the key aspect? So what is the key aspect that we are looking at? What is the right prompt that we are going to do it? So there are a lot of prompting technologies, or there are a lot of prompting that can be used. But I found certain things useful for my business, in the sense for a company purpose, which I will discuss. So basically in here, the framework is known as RTF, or you give a role task. Basically the role is the key aspect. What is the role that you get, what is the task, and what is the format. So I'm not going there. So the example that is the same copy paste from the net, what I wrote. So what I wanted to do is that act like a life coach within 30 years of experience in mentoring and giving a plan. So here you are clearly describing what is the role that I'm going to do it. Then what is the task that I'm going to do it. Then what is the format that I'm going to do it. So when we are doing research, what is the additional aspect that you want to have? E prompt, if you want to rephrase for a researcher, how will you rephrase? In the IDM, there is no right or wrong in here. What does that mean? This is abstract word I'm doing this, since there is no right or wrong answer.
Scholarly.
Scholarly, agree. Why do you take scholarly? In the way I don't in machines, we have to
research article is a normal article.
But yeah, network there is no I want to learn
Clipboard.
I didn't
Clipboard.
Keyword.
Keyword. So what I'm doing is that Quillboard is also a tool that is being used. So what I'm trying to tell is that you are going to tell, or you are going to, in the sense, I'm asking a question to you, right? If the people on the other side is not able to understand the question which I have told, what does that mean? No. Question is right? So I am not able to communicate properly. So machine is information, and the machine is having information. So how do you put into it? So that is why this prompt is there. So one of the interesting prompt that is being done over a period of time is this. So you're going to give a rule, then you're going to give a task in a format. Now, this is the putting scholarly. When you're putting scholarly, so what kind of information will come back? Hello? Academic related. Which part of the information that you require? Q1 rated journal, Q2 rated journal. Now you have to put in that. Now what you want to do is that next aspect is that you want to know that previously somebody has done this or not. If I am going to do the same research, then when I am going and submitting the first question, what is the novelty involved in here? So that is what has been asked. When I am proposing and giving a business proposal to the company, they are also going to ask what is the novelty that you are going to bring? What is the innovation that we are going to do so that we can get more business or money? The same thing is asked to me also. Okay. So what is the examples of that? Once you give this is how this prompting is being done. So there is no right or wrong for this prompting. You need to personalize enough, and at last it will be like a jigsaw puzzle. Or you will find your own words and you will connect. Then once that is being done, majority of the problems will be there. Because either once you understand the right prompt, so you can able to educate to the other juniors. But the biggest aspect is that the people, the students, they are faster in understanding and doing. Why? Because which I observe, and I have a son who is around 9 years in this, and so he never types. Only type here Google Assistant this is once you get a word, means audio to read. Once you get the audio voice, what is the what is the advantage, what is the challenge?
Slang pronunciation.
Slang pronunciation. Number typing, when you are typing formally, ഇപ്പോൾ ബ്രോ എന്ന് വിളിക്കുന്ന അച്ഛനും elderly ആകുമ്പോൾ ബ്രോ തന്നെ വിളിക്കുന്നത്. Since there are certain terminologies, what in the sense somebody might have asked, somebody told about QL board, right? Somebody told about QL board. The people who are in the industry, they started using particular terminologies, certain particular words, which has been consistently used into the system. So the system understood that this particular word means this is the outcome that I am going to give. Well, if we decide to give them this particular scholarly, and once you start to give, and you do it 10,000, 15,000 times, then if it is that working, then you will get whatever you want to scholarly, you will get the information. So I am just telling you how to create a prompt, and how to do it. Now, some of the other ones which I told is that how to narrow down. So there is in the sense when normally research is starting, you get a broader aspect. From the broader, you come to a narrower, then you come to a narrower, then you point it out. So something similar to that, you are going to give that what is the end goal and what is the one thing that you want to do. You give that narrowing aspect. Verbally, you need to do this. Even ChatGPT will be able to help you out. Even DeepSeek will be able to help you out in doing it. I am not going to that. So the idea is that once you do and you do this, then what is that? Majority of the problem what we do is that if I have a project to be completed, in the sense any of the project, in the sense research ആണെങ്കിൽ ഇത് പറഞ്ഞു ചെയ്താൽ ഞാൻ അപ്ലൈ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇതുവരെ ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ് വാസ്തവം. In the sense you cut down into step by step. That in the first step, what is the start point and what is the end point? That when you give the information, this information it will cut down and do that. As a result, what is the advantage is that once you do this, you are going to get the step by step this one. And if you tell it this, it will actually, in the sense, it will give a drop down with majority of the instructions. This is what majority of people are coming to AI. If you want to do a research, or if you are going to address a business problem, in the sense, I work as a brand manager, but I don't know how the financials works, how the finance works, how the accounting works, how the procurement team works. Information, if I am going and asking, they give a big file. Then I have to learn all this. But when I am giving all this scenario and giving it, then think like a product manager and give me an information. Now, what is that system will give you? Our system is that it will give you a possible perspective. This is the perspective. This is the perspective. I am a researcher. I have only partial experience in using AI tools. And I've been doing this for 20 to 30 days. Then you try to explain in this way. Then it will explain in that way, and it will give you possible scenarios and possible solutions. Then it may or may not be right or wrong. But the idea is that the advantage here is that the machine is actually guiding you. Many other times, in the sense, I am from a business stream ആയതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരുവിധപ്പെട്ട കാര്യങ്ങൾ മാത്രം പെട്ടെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാവും. In the sense, ഈ ഹൈപ്പോത്തസിസ് ടെസ്റ്റിംഗ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, ആഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, വേരിയബിൾസ് വരുന്നു, മോഡറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു, ഓരോ തവണ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഓരോ വ്യത്യാസം. Every time when I do, I find myself that why is this not changing? So എല്ലാ തവണയും നമുക്ക് ഗൈഡിന്റെ അടുത്ത് ഭാഗത്ത് ചോദിക്കാനായിട്ടുള്ള ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ടോ? So what do you do that? So seniors in that's a restriction, right? Then you give it to the AI. അതിനെ ന്യൂട്രാലിറ്റി ആണ്. അതിന് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ഉണ്ടെന്നോ നിങ്ങൾ ഈ വിശ്വാസിയാണെന്നോ അതാണോ എനി കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് ദാറ്റ്. Then it will give an answer. പിന്നെ എന്ത് ചോദിച്ചാലും അത് തിരിച്ചൊന്നും പറയില്ല. ഈ പൊട്ടനാണോ മണ്ടനാണോ ഒന്നും ചോദിക്കില്ല. That is the biggest advantage. Majority times what happens is that in training also ചില ആൾക്കാർ ചില ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ടുള്ള സംശയങ്ങൾ ചോദിക്കും. I also think that why did they ask? പക്ഷെ അവർക്ക് ചോദിക്കണമെന്ന് തോന്നിയല്ലോ. That is one aspect that I love. In the sense, Bhadraj എന്ത് വിചാരിക്കുമോ ബാക്കിയുള്ളവർ എന്ത് വിചാരിക്കുന്നു എന്നുള്ളതല്ല. I wanted to confirm. This is what is happening for students also. അവരിങ്ങനെ ChatGPT ആണെങ്കിൽ അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് അത് ട്രൈ ചെയ്യണമല്ലോ. They are doing it, right? They are doing and trying to get it. So we also think, right? അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ എന്താ ചെയ്യുന്നത് ട്രെയിനിങ്ങിന് പോകുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് I give scenarios. ഞാൻ ഇന്ന് ഇവിടെ ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ what are the tentative things that I need to do എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ what will give ഇതെന്തായിരിക്കും തരിക? So it give possible scenarios. ഇന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറഞ്ഞാൽ നന്നായിരിക്കാം. ഇതിനു മുമ്പ് ഒരു 500 hours this kind of session was taken previously. So it will give a perspective on that and it will give you information. The same thing when you are doing for research work or papers, this will give you more clarity on this. ഇത് കിട്ടുന്നതോടുകൂടി നമുക്ക് പേപ്പർ പബ്ലിഷ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമെന്ന് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നില്ല. I am also not able to do it. So the idea is that you get a perspective. So the point I want to drive is that you need to give the right prompt in which the machine understands. There are a lot of variables available here. The idea is that based on your research, what can be done is that majority of people download the papers and keep the keywords. Then you create a particular, you put the same keywords into ChatGPT and ask that what are the possible frameworks through which I can generate a prompt, and you give. So you give 10 options. Then you try to run that. Initial stages, this might be useful. Then somebody have already done this, you can go and you can ask and you can check. Then, yeah.
Sir, if you do that keyword and ask ChatGPT and he give you the result, and I ask from my account again same question, is the result will be the same or will it be different?
Yeah. So there also you just ask, right? Am I asking or somebody is asking? You ask the same question to ChatGPT. Whether this question has been answered by somebody else. Why? Because if we are using our mobile phones, consistently a particular pattern of information is coming in here, right? So once you put the incognito mode, what is basically happening in here? It is not using cookies, is what we think. So you need to ask a question to that also, stating that if it is a third perspective, consider myself as a new person, and you give me an answer. Then will it answer in the similar way or different? So we need to ask that kind of question to them. So that is what people are trying to do now, in a different perspective. Why? Because over a period of time, the ChatGPT or any kind of these kind of learning platform, they will tell what are the questions that you are going to ask. So what sir has asked is that it did have a preconceived notion. So you put that same constraint in a different person, you just answer me. Then it will give you different options. It is just a tool and it maintains a neutrality. It is what they claim. So in here, so nutshell, the key aspect which I want to drive first is that keyword. Then comes the prompt. So why do we require this? In the ultimately, what are we going to do? Keyword in prompt in So what will be our outcome? And then the outcome. Keyword prompt what will we do? And then here. From a researcher's perspective, from a business perspective, but anybody who is doing business or entrepreneur in here? Good. In the business is that? Online presence online presence. B2B. So how do you get customers? How do you get customers?
We focus the procurement managers.
Procurement. So how do you get the information? Information is
face to face number directly program.
So this is a scenario, okay? He is doing a B2B here. So now we prompt to build a business escalate here. Information, what is the outcome? We are going to take a decision based on this. So I would have a decision that if I am giving at this margin, if I am giving the building materials at this margin to this particular person, I am going to get a revenue or I am not going to have a loss. Revenue generating so basically in here that decision is the decision make. How do we make a decision? Margin. Agree. Next. Risk. So why do we use risk? Risk term and term I will define here. I put it in this way. Uncertainty is a risk code. English I didn't get that. Uncertainty is a risk. What is the difference?
Risk is calculated.
Risk can be measured. Uncertainty cannot be measured. However, risk you are going to categorize as risk. You are going to categorize as risk. And uncertainty means you do not know. So that is what aspect. So same is applicable in business also. In business, whatever it is that we make a decision. So decisions are based on certain criteria, like whatever your margins, etc., etc. For research, you also say, this is the publication that I am going to make, this is the journal I am going to try, and these are all the variables, and these are all the skill sets that I am having in. This is the time frame that I am going to have. Same in here. So you are going to make a decision based on certain moderating variables, certain What other variables is there? Mediating variables, then? Correct. So this is the aspect that it is an interlinked one. The only thing is that in business the decisions need to have an outcome. Outcome in the sense, in the decisions in the sense it may not get remedied. It is based on a particular scenario. The same thing is here. When you are giving a particular scenario in here, so that is the answer to the question what behind person asked. Whatever scenarios that we are giving him now, based on that, the learning resources is going to answer. 10 years, 15 years down the line, the answers that it has been, but number three, the research is so that is the beauty of science. That is what science stands for. In the sense, another. Almost every company would have become unicorns, right? China companies unicorn because the decisions are based on that. So this is what is AA is about. But what makes AA what is the AA differentiation product? AA, I suppose it came somewhere around 2017 and 2020 in the sense 2020 hours when so it is like electricity and wheel impact. Electricity what difference it made to the human civilization? And development one aspect, ma'am. Anything around that? Anything around that? Yeah, basically I said biotechnology. Biotechnology chair we can create clones of Einstein but still we didn't create it. So still we didn't create it. But we may get replaced, we may not get replaced. But what AI does is that our internet is democratized. It democratizes information. If information we can have chances of at least to an extent. I'm not telling that denying it, but you will get any guide of in the sense by finance department balance sheet access balance sheet but if I load it into this and anonymize the data and if I ask so it is so that is one aspect this particular tool is going to help. So this is what a risk to uncertainty. Whatever this learning tools, what they will always give a positive reply. The positive reply will correspond. What is the positive reply will correspond? What is it? They will go into this learning tools will give you all positive informations. Even many of the scientific studies that we publish in here are in the sense to an extent the 65% AI reference is very high. What are this publishing house in the sense majority of the publishing house they are using these AI tools to check. Information mirror. So anyway this is going to get loaded in here. So how effectively? Legally to be on the safer side of mistake. So this is what is basically happening here. You need to understand the pattern. But the key aspect in here is that what Bhadraj thinks, or what Madam thinks, or what Sir thinks is totally different. Which neither the AI nor the other person. Our information in the sense, we have certain strength. We work on that strength and we try to build. That is how companies also work. For research also you just pull in that and use it. The same is applicable for business. So the idea is that what AI is going to do is that it will help us. It will basically help us in making decision making easier. So here for researchers, I told about the prompting and machines are going to do that with less effort. Now this is a problem. The Pavlov's experiment so if you wanted to search something, what will you do now? In the sense people who are sitting in here, which is that one app in your phone which you consistently use once in 5 minutes, once in 10 minutes. WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is integrated with WhatsApp is integrated with AI. How is the first time? Data. Now first so it will start to type. Because he already is having a figure and a figure and a facial scanner. Password information that it is able to learn. This is a classic example I tell for children. Our phone and zigzag pattern in the sense pattern or password use it. When a market control pattern and there is same thing is what this particular somebody has done a model in which it is putting a lot of variables into that and it is giving a scenario. Based on the scenario, if variable A is working in this way, the output should be like this. So based on that, it will give a different model. What we call as machine language, natural language, programming, etc. But as the variable count increases, how fast you are able to get that information. Once you give something on ChatGPT, how much time it is getting? Other premium subscription, you will get more and more information. Now, I am asking the same question. Still we are driving, right? Automatic mode. So the amount of information gathering our brain is far superior. The only thing is that you are not able to understand. You are not able to understand how to prompt and do it. Then how to discipline our brain. Machines have a problem. You give it information, I will give the information. So this is basically one aspect. What is going to happen is that something known as it will put our analytic capacity in a sense. Creativity and thinking is the only aspect that is driving. Managing company and business running in order. In the sense, I college പഠിക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് സോണി എറിക്സന്റെ ഏറ്റവും കുറഞ്ഞ ഒരു ഫോണാണ് എന്തായിരുന്നു അന്ന് ഞാൻ യൂസ് ചെയ്തിരുന്നത് 500 MB ആയിരുന്നു 500 MB ആണ് ഒരു മാസത്തേക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്തത് ഒരു മിനിറ്റ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുകയുള്ളൂ so they have trained us they have built an ecosystem they have profiled ourselves they are trying to do so how could we നമുക്ക് ഇതിനകത്ത് നിന്ന് മാറി ഞാൻ സന്യാസിയായിട്ട് ജീവിക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല so how could we use this and use it in our research program to use so business problems are also addressed in this way. So the point I want to drive is that how decision can be made, how informed decision can be made. Now in here, just the machine learning in here, then the natural language processing, then the robotic process automations, then the decision support systems. So here basically the machine learning, what we told is that how we use a flow. Now in the sense when you go, how many people use alarms in your mobile phones? Alarms in your mobile phones. So what do you do first thing when you get up after getting the alarm? What do you first do? Snooze. After that, what do you do? After that, what do you do? After that,
Go back to sleep again.
Go back to sleep again. Then when they introduced this mobile phone, when they introduced this, they understood that people wanted to wake up, but they are not able to do that. And across the smartphones, they understood the same. If for instance they give it that we give an option like optimization feedback program. Whenever you install a mobile phone, even for the matter iPhone or Android, use the optimization feedback survey. So they understood that people are getting this alarm but people are not getting it. So they understood that if you give 10 minutes this one. So this is basically pattern they understood that. People are getting it and after 10 minutes also they again going back and seeing the mobile phones. They did it, right? So that machine captured and this is what basically this algorithm captures that. This algorithm basically captures that and doing that. Next thing is that when and since majority of the people and this we were lucky enough something what we call millennials. Idil etra pages use people who use pages etra use cheyidundu pages use cheyidundu pager mobile phone nammulla gap etra varsham etra maasam undayirunnu hardly 1 or 2 years mobile phone tabs nammulla etra divasam in the sense what is the time frame difference between mobile phone and tab
3 to 4 years
3 to 4 years now and this artificial intelligence and the smartphones how much is the difference for all. So the sense now when you're looking at the kids, in the sense when you go and check with this one, whether they type or whether they speak. Why?
They don't know the right.
They do not know the language. Anything other than that?
Easy. They
when you are typing, emotions typing will when if somebody is driving a vehicle, are you feeling sleepy? How does it know? How does it know? How does it know? One is blinking of eyes, blinking of anything other than that. If phone ID system, you're going to get integrated with any of our mail ID, email ID, etc. will be there, right? So automatically when you're doing that, normal contacts sharing already teach you. Since I woke up at morning at 5 o'clock and off my alarm at this time, and I Bluetooth connected to my system at this time, and I watched my Instagram at this time, all this information are interconnected, right? All are interconnected, right? Now they are trying to find a pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this pattern is basically understood through natural language processing. And what it is that when we open mails started with the spam mails and what we call it, what are emails? So Google are the, so how do they basically get the number of emails and email ID Google ads, so so what do they create? They create a separate box for promotions. Our emails are to do. So what do they tell to the companies? That I have this much number of Gmails in my account. So you can pump in this much amount of auto emailers. I have second question. So that is basically done through these automations. The salary slips every month at a particular date, push in. So that is automatically you are going to do this. Then next thing is what are the decision support systems, etc. The decision support systems are in T20 in cricket they go for this, right? DRs. So how much time? How much time about the 15 seconds. So our DRs who will make a call? So we get two rights. But yeah, about they will be there, right? So they will have some symbols, right? So how much time frame is needed for that? They will also have a system, right? There is somebody known as video analyzer. Video analyzer, what does it is that they check all the people's batting, bowling, etc. and they tell that you at this frequency if we hit the ball will be in this way. They select the players and that. Even for companies, they started to do the similar way. When we are going for an interview, they record. This is multiple recordings will be done. And if it is for a key person, something like CEO, CFO, even they check the social profile, in the sense Instagram, Facebook, etc., etc., etc. So basically, if you do not have an Instagram, Facebook, or this one, the companies consider that they are not existing. So that is the kind of thing that we are going. That is the level at which we are going in there. So all the scenarios are basically understood through this. Now. So this is with regard to the money wise or the business wise. So basically the key idea is that US and China is already into this business and the majority of the business is done through those companies. In that nearly 40% is done through US and China, and India is also catching up. What is our biggest advantage? Biggest advantage of India? Population. In that, what is the other biggest advantage of the population?
Youth population.
Fine. We can consider this as a sample. Consider this as a sample of India. What is the age group of the people sitting there? Average age group?
25.
Age of gender. This is the same scenario when you are taking it. So majority of the people somewhere between this 25, 35, 25 to 40. We are in that numbers, like something like it can be US, it can be like Singapore, etc., etc., etc. So the idea is that this much number of market is there. So that is why every company is in that. So that is why I just asked about pages and mobile phones. So earlier, in this majority of people needs to have this device, right? Either this laptop or this personal device assistant or mobile phone, etc. should be there. So what is it? We have somewhere around 7 million is the internet users, and we have somewhere around 6 million is the AI professionals that is in there. So this is the market that we are going to have. Now, the catch here is that everybody, coding you can get all the tools that is available in here. Now, what companies does is that you can use for this much number of hours, you can pay that you can use, or you can give it to somebody else. For example, if you are working as a team, and 5 to 6 people is there. If somebody is very good at designing, you Adobe, you do that, you get a plugin. And if somebody is doing research purpose, when you are also doing notebook LLM and ChatGPT, then Syspace, then Cloud AI, all this people can take it in different. So, if you have paisa on Medicare account, Gmail, etc., the user is good. And I will not be able to get the entire one, this will be able to use. So, the idea is that this A market is going to exist in here and it is going to get thrive. And it is going to come to each and every person, even for infants. This is going to come. And there is a particular thing known as even breastfeeding, but bigger and in the sense companies started to use this. How to use it? Because in the sense, with the population that we are having, it is really difficult for every Anganwadi workers to reach into that level. So if somebody is having a smartphone in their hand and the government is able to connect to any of your UIDs or to your other, automatically this will be going to get registered. And you are going to have an institutional pregnancy, etc. So this information will come in here. So directly you are going to get information. So that much of machine learning will be able to come. So that is the level at which the technology is going forward. So research is here and the problem setup over a little. In the sense, do not worry on that. Then comes which are all the places where which the AI adoption is getting faster and faster. So the fintech companies and the telecommunication company that is actually in the front runners to do this. Then comes the transportation logistics. Then comes the healthcare. Then automotive. Automotive majority of the Indian companies are something like in that league, heavy league, where which even the automation is pretty good in the sense. Even whatever that we see in our SUVs, then MUVs, it is far ahead of any of our Westerners. So that is the inbuilt mechanism that we have done. Then the lagging behind are majority of construction. These are so this is basically it will catch up, right? Because more number of people started to use YouTube somewhere around 2020. The captive audience was very less. But the speed at which it is going is very fast. So this will be catching up. So these are all the areas where which majority of research or R&D or business are going to come. So that is the take home message which I want to tell. Then when it comes to the AI applications, now the maximum movies are using the tool this is AI use. Netflix. Oh. Why do you prefer to use Netflix and not Netflix using Netflix? Why do you prefer to use? Why do you prefer to use Netflix? Exclusive content. Anything on that? Killboard.
Yes, sir.
So why do you prefer to use Netflix or any of these kind of platforms?
I didn't use Netflix.
You didn't use Netflix. So you never watches any movies, videos, etc.
Not that much love those movies.
Very good. So so this can also be used as a proposal. I'll come to that also. That is also there. Yeah. So Netflix has been good so far. So Netflix has got the content that they are having. The content that they are having is how much is the content? And how much is the customer base? Because I is here in when you are going to a sari showroom and you want to select something. So this is the amount of content that we are having in here. And how does Netflix ensure that you are going to take this? How does they do that? So some of the challenges what they face is that choosing the content, whether it's a movie, serial, documentary. Then I have selected then which genre, whether it's a crime, thriller, etc., etc. Then comes I am using a Redmi phone. Somebody using this is iPhone. Somebody might use a different one. Somebody might have an internet facility where he or she is using 4G connection. So these are all variables that is in here, and you have an audience of how much? 300 million, and you need to satisfy all these people, right? So how do we do that? How do we customize? This is where all this AI mechanism will come into picture. Okay, so how do they do that? So basically, there is something known as personalized recommendation system which somebody has already told. So what we will do is that we will cinema basically cinema അടിപൊളി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അപ്പൊ നിങ്ങള് ആ മാച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കാരെ കാറ്റഗറിയിൽ പറയുമ്പോൾ എന്താ ഉണ്ടാവുക? പൊളിച്ചു. അപ്പൊ ഇതൊരു 10 പേര് പൊളിച്ചു എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ എന്താ ഉണ്ടാവുക? You will recommend to somebody, right? You will recommend to somebody. So what are you doing? Recommendation കൊടുത്തു പോകുന്നവരെല്ലാം they put it in a particular segment. So that will become one captive audience. Now, next thing what do is that they give a recommendation. നിങ്ങൾ ഇത് കണ്ടു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇത് കണ്ടുകൂടെ? You have seen this, why can't you see this? Okay? So that is going to give it. So based on, so how do you do that? When you log into Netflix, you are going to give your name, your age, tentative date of birth, or tentative year of birth. Then what are your preference? What kind of movies you watch? Then what is the time frame that you watch? Everything you are going to give. So this will come back and this will see in here, and this will sit in there. And once you start to do that, so basically who is telling, they are selecting, who is actually selecting the movies? Who is actually selecting the movies? So who is actually watching the movies? So who is actually paying this? So why did we pay, first of all, why did we pay money for them? So watch the movies which we like. You know, what kind of movies are we watching? Recommended movies. So what is basically happening here? They are specifically your segmentation is there. Then targeting and positioning for each and every person in here. Then they are going to give this. Then these kind of in the sense dashboard it will be playing up, and they are going to do this. Then there are something what we call a thumbnails is there. Okay, this is auto-generated thumbnail. It will be variable for different people. Okay, variable for different people. And as the madam told in here, if madam likes a thriller movie, but I like romantic movies. The same movies they place it in different ways. Okay, what they do is that they put it the same movie in a different captions. Then what they do is that even for country specific they categorize. So the thumbnails will be old. If put anyone tell me what is the difference here? Either under thumbnail enda vyathyasam. Family. What is the difference? There is a specific reason I just do it. It was really interesting. That is why I just do it.
First one actually attract white people. Second one
that is the reason why they do it. They want to target to black Americans also and black people also. But majority of the people are not watching the movie. So they just flip this entire content into this and they did this. So how did they get the information? How did the information get it? So how did they get this information? How did they get this information? We are taking the money, we are giving our patents, we are helping them to solve the problem. The only person who is doing this is the machines will actually try to understand our pattern, then try to do this. Even if you wanted to come out, we will not be able to do that. Why? Because you have to change the pattern entirely. Starting from WhatsApp, Facebook, everywhere you have to change the pattern, which will never happen. And this is basically what is known as predictive models everything. So that is why they are going to satisfy individual preference has been satisfied. So that is the ultimate thing. Everybody wants to be unique. But I want to be different. So you are giving a platform for them, you are giving content for them, and you are trying to showcase on them. So this is what is known as auto-generated content or auto-generated thumbnails. And there are specific patterns that has been used. Then comes how do they synchronize the videos into that. So they have an option, it is like seeding and a same principle of seeding, where the high quality will be also be there and the medium and the low quality will be there. So this will be the same based on our whatever devices. In a sense, more than 50% people uses mobile phones. So based on the internet speed, the algorithm will be calculating the download speed. So based on that, this will categorize and stream it. So that is why each and every person will get the distinct quality. The viewing quality will be the same. So what do they basically do that? They bring in more subscribers. They are trying to satisfy the customers. They are trying to satisfy the users. I watch these movies. Movies we will share this and we will give a review for that. So why do we give a review? do we review? Now, I don't know why do they ask us to make a review? Not a review. I'm going to inform you on that advantage. Why do we do that?
Feedback basically will give the recommendation from the customers. Or
Correct.
the consumers.
Correct.
When the consumer give the feedback, the company will improve. Then that improvement will improve the customer satisfaction in the future.
So who is paying the money for it?
Sorry?
Who is paying the money for that?
The customer itself. Himself.
So we are basically something like the gamers in there. So we do the gaming. We are doing this. Only the machine is doing it. So based on this, they use. So that is why certain terminologies keep on changing. So this is the significance of that prompt. Here also the prompt is important. Now, when it comes to the other part, when it comes to the banking. So banking, if you want to know information, we are going to a bank. Where do we go and check? May I? Yes, correct. May I help you to put in the choice? So what do we have to go and ask? So that is the biggest challenge. In the choice, we have clarity in that. Out of my choice, we have So if you do the same, if you have a chatbot, and this one, basically savings account limit is how much, or do I have this account or do I have this minimum balance in there? If you give this, it will be easy. So what is the advantage? You can reduce the load of the call center people, and you can improve the customer. Why? Because split second you are going to get the information. So this is what has been done. This is what is basically done in HDFC's EVA this one. So what do they do is that nearly 2.5 million queries has been handled on a monthly basis, and this is equivalent to somewhere around 500 human agents. So when AI comes, certain number of jobs will be getting replaced with certain number of other jobs. So that is one aspect. So this is the application by which it has been done. So this is in banking and financial. So first the banking theory. Now next thing is what when we apply for a loan, what do they basically check? Credit worthiness, anything other than that, sir? So anything other than that? Income. Lot of parameters involved here. Now when this is going to companies, when it goes to companies or corporations, they are going for a lending. For example, Kingfisher or whatever company on the idea. If you consider that, not or Apple or Reliance, those companies. So they are going for a loan. So on what parameters will the bank check? Correct, right? So there is high chance for biasness also. And if they are going to the 1,000 crores, 500 crores, the number of parameters that is going to get checked will be more, right? So it will take more amount of time, right? Will the companies wait or will we wait? So for that, this is one of the classical cases where JP Morgan has got a particular system where it is nearly around 360,000 plus hours annually and the transaction etc. So manually they have been trying to do. Now when it is this, they have a particular intelligence solution, it is not as going. What do they basically do is that they scan all these documents. They specifically select a particular terminologies. They specifically select the prompt of this will be then they cross it. The machine will start the cross. So generally when this is being done through manually, it will take time will be more cost from zero. You need to employ more number of people. Now once the machine starts to do that, efficiency will start to improve. Somebody that sir actually told that machines if they do, it has got an error rate is very less. So that is what is being done. And nearly around 12,000 documents per second is verified. This is the speed at which it goes. Now there are certain challenges associated with this. So they had a challenge that the legal language is complex. Terminology that is used in English, different languages will be used. Now the machine needs to understand this language. So what they will do is that they fine tune that domain specific into that natural language programming this one, and they make the models. And the people like us in different domains, IT system, they develop this particular models. The people like us in the IT sector, they did the research, and many of the research will be associated with this, and they build this platform. Then comes the accuracy of the model. Why? Because you are dealing with corporations. Any slight error in this, the money goes and you'll not be able to claim. It might be loans given to countries. So what is basically known as that human AI hybrid. So people from the industry, people from the CHR, the ACCN, they have started to sit there, they have built in. So it will be partially, it will be human, partially it will be the AI model. Then comes the privacy and compliance. Why? Because a country is going to take loan of this much. Then what will they also collect, right? Gold, asset, etc. So that information should not go out. So they basically anonymize the data out. So all this thing put together, they made a solution. So this is what for loan, this one. Then what is the biggest challenge that bank users or money transaction users that we face now? Biggest challenge that we are doing. And now our biggest one of the biggest challenges. Fishing calls. Why fishing calls? Why? So possibilities more. So this is applicable for banks and companies also, right? Any idea how much will be the amount of money that will be lost? How much amount of money? Any numbers? Yeah, I'll even do it. The number of supported other cyber attacks. Numbers? Crores I did. Actual numbers. Numbers. I have a data, this is older data. We have the best of the best technology, but still it is happening, right? So, Visa also did this, like come to Indian scenario also. So basically, some of the reason why when you are making any kind of payment, it shows that decline transaction, right? Decline transaction. So many times what happens is that particular account, there is a lot of variables, moderate and other variables in there. It might be missing in there, and the bank considers this as a fake account or something related to that. So they just dismantle the transaction or they just decline the transaction. So this is done through. So nearly around 500 attributes is being checked on visas this one. Despite doing all they are not challenging. So as the technology advances, the challenges are going to come up. And in here, when we are looking here, why AI is used in here for better customer experience. When you are making a transaction, the transaction is getting there, and your money is safe, and the other merchant or lender or somebody, that part is making. Then comes the internal efficiency optimization. So why do certain people prefer to use GPay and why do certain people prefer to use PhonePe? The same, which is making faster transaction, you want to do it. So that is one aspect. Then it is that how many people in here are got the Leddu? The season Leddu learn.
Google Pay Leddu.
Google Pay Leddu. So why did we do that? I told like are they getting any kind of money bonus or something like that? Agreed. So why do we do that? UPI on the UPI and what you say they also bring wonderful work. I'm not paying the fact. So basically it is the engaging the customers. So you will share to 12 people, you will do this. Then for getting 1 Leddu, we will pay 500 rupees for some transaction. So basically they wanted to improve the transaction rates at a particular time frame where the transactions are very less. Now you will have it. Same thing. This is, I'm not denying that. So this is the same methodology that they use, but they understand the patterns and they started to use. So that is basically the customer loyalty. Then the other one is that for bank, they collect ethical information. They collect when we are opening an account. What all information do they collect from us? What all information do they collect? Bank account or
Aadhaar card.
Aadhaar card. Okay, great. Next.
PAN card.
PAN card. Okay. Next.
Occupation.
Photo. Next. Occupation. Yes. Next.
Income.
Income. Next. Personal details. Agree. Next. KYC. KYC included. Anything around that. Next.
What type of account I want?
Agree. Next.
Address.
Next. More than 1,000 parameters that this is being taken on. So these parameters are getting what Bhadraj. And all user information are getting. Now account going. In the sense, if you want to reactivate the account, forgot password. What do we generally do? How do we get the password thing?
Forgot password option.
Forgot password
It will directly come to our registered email.
No.
Registered email ID. Agree, sir. Anything on that? Chennai companies are card in a bank in a debit card and credit card checker box number, they do that, right?
Also provide the one-time password to the
Correct.
telephone.
So all this grid is, everything is connected, right? So they are getting all this information. If somebody is there, if a data breach is there, then what will you do? Even if you change the password, you again come back to this, right? So this is one of the drawbacks of the system, inherent system. There is an inherent system. So that is why there's two-factor authentication, etc., is there. Two-factor authentication. We can bypass that two-factor authentication also. I just come to it. So basically, these are all the secret. Then what is happening is that when we make big transactions continuously, friends and transactions at times what happens is that our credit worthiness at times may come down due to certain transactions. So what will happen? So these are all the attributes when machines start to assess this credit worthiness, etc. So these are all some of the usage, potential, benefit and harm that is going to happen. In the next application that is upcoming, we are getting calls, right? We are getting calls. Banks are doing credit worthiness. But why banks are not? Why are they not giving any points for this bank? Accounts. Transaction people are transaction made on accounts, right? They could give a score, right? Research products rating account is this account has not been this spam product suspected spam. The bank is zero. Why are they not bank? Three information bank in the so this is the pattern analysis to show you that it takes time to get, but on a longer run it will well. So account in the usage pattern it will also come. Then comes this particular where Airtel uses system, where which all our numbers, anything that even tower to tower location, they get all these numbers into the servers. And what they do is that they basically detect these numbers. Number is true caller number, unknown number, this is what do we do if an unknown number comes to us? What do we do?
First we will search
What do we do?
and then we will be blocking it.
True caller.
True caller or any kind of this one. True caller or any kind of this. Any kind of system that is allowed. Whether it is spam, we click an option not spam, right? So we are basically segregating those people. Segmentation, targeting, positioning. The same thing is applicable here. So basically, in this aspect, where Airtel does is that Airtel run all these numbers into the servers, and they categorize and give you the numbers. This is credit worthiness, something like credit worthiness. Whether they are calling, whether for spam they give criteria 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now all these numbers will be categorized into different in this one. And moreover, whatever calls that is coming to us, we will also give a rating, right? Whether it is spam. So we are also classifying that. So based on that, first whenever somebody is calling and we are telling that it is a spam, then it will be detecting it. Then it will start to run all the previous 10 to 15 calls. What? Sure. So based on this, what they does is that they categorize into various this one. Now, when they are doing it, they categorize these numbers from which stage, which centers. So all these data numbers they will capture and the algorithm will be starting to run. Now, when we are going to take a SIM, what all information will we give? What all information will we give? Address, anything around that? Aadhaar, anything around that? Photo, anything around that? Anything around that? Signature. So all is scanned and vended, right? So if we are recognizing that as a spam, right, they check, they also check the document, right, who was actually taken, what is the signature, etc. They go back and verify, right, and they have to check how many SIMs have been taken this particular number. Multiple 10, 15, and so they get a value, right? Based on that, the system will actually learn. So they have been doing this pilot for I think more than 12 months, and the pilot is run, and it is big. Now, majority of the companies will be coming up with this. So what is the problem involving here? Will it not be a problem? Why not something in the problem? What are
They can use this for financial products. They can make.
because financial numbers, cyber breach, data കിട്ടിയാൽ മാത്രമേ ഉണ്ടാവൂ. Data കിട്ടാതിരിക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇതിലെല്ലാത്തിലും നമ്മുടെ user names are same, IDs are same. Our majority of our UPI payments are done through one particular number. So all these usage patterns are there with the telecommunication or these companies or the tech giants. So hardware devices with them, software devices with them. Now what do? They give us products which will be helping us to do that. So first, what was the challenge? The network issue was the challenge. മുമ്പ് നമ്മൾ 500 MB ആണ് ഒരു മാസം യൂസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇപ്പോഴോ
2 GB per day, 1 to 1.
So അത് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് actually internet അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതേപോലെ content യൂസ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് you require a platform, right? So what did they first do? They did what is known as gross promotion. Reliance came in there, they built an ecosystem in which internet based, fast internet based, 4G network based. Now once they did that, we got a speed, right? Well, നമുക്ക് speed ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അത് ഉപയോഗിക്കാനായിട്ട് സാധനമില്ല. So what did they came? Contents, they started to create contents, right? Now content എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ സമയത്ത് what is the first typing? Because quality keypad ആണ് നമ്മൾ typing ലാണ് focus ചെയ്ത് pages etc. After that what came? Quality keypad ന് ശേഷം mobile phones എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു? Touch pad എന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പോൾ മക്കൾ അതിലാണ് how do they use? Voice. So this എല്ലാ learning platforms they started to build in there. They started to plug in, they started to do this. Now, sooner or later, this telecommunication companies and the tech companies they joined to form a single system. This is what Jio is trying to do. Jio will become a single communication center where the entire communication tool will be there. ഒരു ഫാമിലിക്ക് വേണ്ടുന്ന ഇന്റർനെറ്റ് സ്പേസിലോട്ട് പോകുന്ന എല്ലാ സാധനങ്ങളെയും സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. So what is the advantage? YouTube ഫസ്റ്റ് എക്കോസിസ്റ്റത്തിൽ എന്തായിരുന്നു അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ്? ഫസ്റ്റ് സ്റ്റാർട്ടിങ്ങിൽ യൂട്യൂബ് എന്തായിരുന്നു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നത്? ടാർഗറ്റ് ഓഡിയൻസ് അവരുടെ ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു. ടാർഗറ്റ് ഓഡിയൻസ് ഇല്ലായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ ഈ ജിയോയിലോട്ട് എല്ലാ സാധനങ്ങളും നിങ്ങളുടെ ഇന്റർനെറ്റ് സർവീസ്, നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫോൺ നമ്പേഴ്സ്, ഈവൻ ദി ഡേറ്റാസ് ദാറ്റ് വി ആർ ട്രാൻസ്ഫറിംഗ് ഇൻ ദർ, ഈവൻ ദി വൈഫൈ സെർവേഴ്സ് ദാറ്റ് വി ആർ ഗോണ യൂസ്, ഈവൻ ജിയോ ഹോട്ട്സ്റ്റാർ, ഇതെല്ലാം അതിനകത്ത് ഒരു ഫാമിലി ഒരു എല്ലാ സാധനം അതിനകത്ത് വരും. വേറെ എന്തെങ്കിലും സാധനം വാങ്ങിക്കാനായിട്ട് പുറത്തു പോകും. So they are going to integrate all this and bring in this. So over a period of last 10 to 15 years, ഒരു ഫാമിലിയുടെ പോലെ ജനിക്കുന്ന ഒരു മാറ്റം വരെ ഈ സാധനത്തിനകത്ത് തന്നെയാണ്. We are playing maze world, we are playing in here. So all this, so basically this is what is known as sentimental analysis. This is you profile the customers, you profile what they require. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഈ അക്ഷയ തൃതീയ എന്ന സാധനം എപ്പോഴാണ് വന്നത്? എത്ര കാലം നോക്കാം അക്ഷയ തൃതീയ അതുപോലെയുള്ള സാധനങ്ങൾ വന്നിട്ട് എത്ര കാലമാണ്? Billion days, Amazon Prime days. When did they come? അതും ഈ സാം ആൽട്മാനും കൂടി വന്ന സമയം ഒരു ആലോചിച്ച് when did Sam Altman came and when did Big Billion Days came? So Amazon platform was having all this information. Okay, they had all this information in the learn. But what is the motive of Amazon? Amazon is really like it was. This is why Amazon.
Initially,
I didn't use it. I didn't use it.
Amazon initially didn't like it.
Amazon is correct, sir. Yes.
Books.
Books agree. Then books and entered why did he come to this? Technology company out of this.
So you will stop writing. So we will entertainment and any platform books.
Correct, sir. Agree, sir. Agree. So all this is connected and all this is connected to it. So the idea is that if we want to, if researchers are we want to Q1 rated journal. So Q1 rated Q1 rated somebody would have papers, right? They position themselves as this, they started to give a content like this. And a content over a period of time they build. So something similar to here. So this is our potential, what Sir has told, cyber attacks and things will be there for telecommunication. Then when it comes to the Amazon part, the pricing is one aspect. Pricing is one aspect that is a big challenge. Because everyone individual pricing in the sense the mobile phones that we buy. So the price is so the biggest challenge is that 400 million products in there. I need to sell. So as a result, what I do, 3 in a class engaging class engaging audience engaging Amazon is also doing the same. Amazon wants us to buy things. Since we are actually buying what do they call it? Buying experience or customer delight. Okay, buying experience or customer delight. So what do they basically do is that they use these patterns and basically what is that? Maximizing revenue as well as profit. So what is that? Real-time adjustments. That 12 to 12 flash sales for a particular one. They are not doing offline, they are doing here. In a gaming, basically gaming mobile phones they do that. So Asus market they came into the other side. In the sense offline So what do they do? They give a real-time adjustment. So all this is being pumped into this particular system where the AI basically reinforces start to do. Even somebody saw them with cartoon and they recognize it. Then after some time when you log in, price has been hiked to this. Yeah, basically notification like that. So how do they know that? So even the logins that we use, that is being captured. So next thing is that inventory management. Stock problems and all. Stock out, stock issues, if food basic challenge food that 12 months expiry, 6 months, 7 months expiry. So what do they do is that mornings when you predominantly see mornings or in the evenings, they give this high flash sales for food items. So that is how they are going to do this. Now, when it comes to the Indian scenarios, India focus regions for AI, as this is India in 2018 reports. So these are all the segments. One is healthcare, agriculture, education, then smart cities and smart mobilities. These are all the areas where which India is going to focus for the next 10 to 15 years. So this is a segment where the key focus will be here. Now when you're looking here in the head, since I work for healthcare segment, one of the key growing diseases that is in cancer. So there is one hospital known as Tata Memorial Hospital in Mumbai. And what is basically happened is that nearly in 2015 itself, 67,000 new patients actually came in to TMH. And basically in that 23% is only coming from Maharashtra. The rest all came from UP, Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal. So basically they've been traveling nearly around 1,800 kilometers. And when they arrived at the hospital, the challenge was that many of the people are already reached to that terminal stage or late stage. So in a why this situation might have arisen, in this situation.
Late diagnosis.
Late diagnosis, one. Anything other than that?
Lack of awareness.
Agreed, sir. Anything other than that, sir?
Lot of awareness.
Lack of awareness. Agreed, ma'am. Anything other than that? Distance. But if IIT people have believed that TMH is for cancer. Even Calcutta, the PM Birla hospital is there. So they want to go in there. Awareness level is there. Then, if somebody needs to diagnose, basically rather than the doctor, in the sense when you are going and being a medical oncologist or a radiation oncologist, they are going to take any kind of specimen. It can be blood or it can be biopsy, etc. etc. So the specimen is basically analyzed by Dr. Landal, who is basically analyzing this lab. Lab is specifically RNG,
The technician.
technician, and is specifically pathologist. So the problem here is that we have only 2,000 pathologists. In that, only 500 is having an oncology experience. This is the particular business problem that we are having here. So as a researcher, what will be an ideal solution? What can be an ideal solution? I didn't get you, sir. So how do you automate process? Agreed. I'm not trying to assess on this one. Layman's language, once you use it, you will try to understand. That's all. Virtual assistant, agreement. That is wonderful. But anyway, the person should be diagnosed as a cancer. This needs to be authenticated by whom? Pathologist. We cannot bypass a pathologist, right? Now, what is the problem? Now, we have labs at every nook and corner, right? We have labs at every nook and corner. The only challenge is that when they are getting a biopsy sample, they are unable to recognize whether this patient is having a lesion or a malignancy. Now, what the government is that they bought into tech companies and they started to take the images of all kinds of cancers, even liquid or tumors. They started to take imaging systems. And based on the imaging system and based on the biopsies, they ran an AI system in which if a particular biopsy of this or this X-ray of this is coming, there is a high chance for having this kind of a cancer. Now the diagnosis is done at where it is not done at 1,800 kilometers, it is done at in front of our house or in front of a rural area. So what this is that there is a particular system that is known as STARVI. This is an integrated system by Government of India itself, with the private funding itself. So whatever they take all these X-rays or scans, they do this and they integrate it into a system. Now, when a patient is going and they are showing this to a lab, they will be given a user ID password. And once they log in, once they scan the X-ray or the ultrasound or a blood report into this, it will go and match. It will go and match, and it will match to a particular 2 sheets. And it says that whether the probability of having a cancer for this patient is this much. So this is used as a stimulus a litmus test. So as a result, what is happening is that many of the patients, the early diagnosis will start to happen. Why? Because the late diagnosis happened. Why? Because the doctors were not there. Even when they are going for doctors, they need to go for pathologists to get the diagnosis report. Now this problem is done through this. Then one more thing, what has been done is that even the lab reports, they started to integrate through various systems. We COVID in a समय the ASHA workers on mobile type why did they do that? Homeo medicine, in the sense you receive homeo medicine or something like that, right? So our mobile type in the sense yeah. Next time is if somebody in your place, if they are pregnant enough, the government through ASHA workers, they send in this iron tablets, hematinics tablets to this, and they will ensure that this has been delivered and this will be logged in. So such and such patient or such and such female who is having a gestational age of this much will be recorded into the system, and the government is going to track all this. In the sense, the idea of why they track all this number. So all this information is going to the system, and the system will start to generate a learning platform, where in which the diagnosis part will be getting easier. Now, there is the other key aspect that the government is working very hard is that for breast cancer. So basically, for assessing breast cancer, the earliest technique, or still also can be called as thumb rule or gold standard, it is the mammographic test. So one of the biggest challenges is that because of the social stigma associated with this, and they have to go to the hospital or the facility, and the contact procedures that then there is high chance that since we are using X-rays or these kind of machines, MRIs, there is high chance for invasiveness, in the sense the radiation can go. So that particular procedure, that particular technique which we use as a thermography, or what we call it as a thermal scanners will be used. So basically this is a thermal scanner. They will run the thermal scanners through the people and they will take the photographs of this. And based on the thermal scanners, the AIs will detect billions and billions of photographs. And based on this, they will categorize the, in the sense, biopsies or the malignancies, and they will position that whether this particular patient is having any kind of breast cancer related incidents, or whether they have a possibility of having it. So the biggest challenge here is that contactless, this is a contactless procedure, and this is a non-invasive, and this is a portable, and this is safe. Even this can be bought in each and every facility, and this can be done. And all this is run through an AI platform. And this particular system is known as VAANI. And this system basically, the thermal device is placed 3 feet in front, and the 5 images will be captured, and this will be entered into the system. So this is a, in the sense, social problem that was in there, where diagnosis was a challenge, and people from the IT sector and the people from the research sector, they chipped in, and this was a project, and now this has become a scalable model. This has become a scalable model, and this is how this is being captured. Now, diabetes, what is diabetes basically? Glucose is there. Yeah, right. So insulin resistance negative. I'm trying to tell. So what is the problem of diabetes? Diabetes is
Metabolism.
Metabolism. What is the outcome? In the sense,
body not able to digest sugar.
Body not able to digest sugar. Agree, sir. I don't know. So sugar we know that sugar is needed. So sugar we don't care. Sugar body absorb blood
will affect the kidney.
So, effect diabetes patients predominantly old age people,
Eyes.
What happened to eyes?
Diabetic retinopathy.
Diabetic retinopathy. Then the other peripheral neuropathy, where the sensation they are working. So the same challenge is applicable. So majority of the people diagnosing this is a challenge. So what government will do is that they have procured the scanners, eye scanners. Not to be using the laptop, telephone, using the scanners they started to use, and they started to take the scannings of the eyelids or inside the visual system. And this is being done into the AI system. Now the advantage is that even if blood check you can do this retinal scanner, and they will tell if you are continuously, if you are diabetic over a period of time, and if you are having the peripheral neuropathic symptoms or diabetic retinopathy symptom, this will tell that what time you need to meet the doctor. Why? Because once this comes to your late stage at eyesight will be gone. That is biggest challenge. And moreover, our population is somewhere around 1.1 billion, 1.5 billion, nearly around 140 crores we become the diabetes capital. Over a period of time, 25 to 30 years, we are highly susceptible to this. Early diagnosis is so this started to do that. In order to get that, we need to have that much number of systems what not there. So the application is there. If photos are taken, this will be scanned and sent into the system, and the system does this. So this is done through this particular system, and this is being captured. So then real time since it is a real time, it is going to be done. It hardly takes less than an hour, and the reports will be there. So before going and meeting an entrepreneur or diabetes, you need a report. So you get a faster diagnosis, faster impact. So this is what is known as wellness. You are going to get wellness through this. Now, anemia, or since anyone heard about anemia, from healthcare, what is basically anemia? Iron deficiency. So what is the color of blood?
Red.
What makes red?
Hemoglobin.
Hemoglobin. Okay, what is the function of hemoglobin?
Carrying oxygen.
Carrying oxygen, ma'am. Congratulations, ma'am. Oh, this is what I just said. So oxygen carrying, in the sense, blood oxygen carrying hemoglobin. Okay, so when this is done through hemoglobin and cherry parts like RBC or red blood cells. So when in the body, if the amount of red blood cells is going down, what does that indicate? Anemic marathon point out. RBC level body oxygen. If a person is anemic, what does it indicate?
Lack of
oxygen or
Weak.
weakness എങ്ങനെ അറിയാൻ പറ്റുക? ബോഡി ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ, ബോഡി ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ. അപ്പൊ അനീമിക് ആകുമ്പോൾ പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ പെർഫോമൻസ് ഓൾസോ കൗണ്ട് ഔട്ട് ആസ് എ മെഷീൻ. ബ്രെയിൻ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, ബ്രെയിൻ തന്നെ കിട്ടാതെ ഹാർട്ടിന് ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും, ഹാർട്ട് തന്നെ ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യാതെ കിഡ്നി ഫംഗ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. So all these are counterproductive. Now I put a scenario. Now with regard to National Family Health Survey 4 as well as 5, so more than 50% of the females in India, whether it is a pregnant or not pregnant, are anemic. So now my question is that ഒരു anemic ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു pregnant lady, will she give birth to a healthy baby or an anemic baby? Anemic. So this, if we continue the cycle, നമ്മുടെ ഇപ്പോൾ ഉള്ള in the sense, will we get a healthy society or will we have a trouble? So who will break this cycle? Who will break it? The RG. Who will do this? I mean, we know that anemia is this, oxygen carrying capacity is this, everybody knows this. But why are we able to break this jinx? Why? So this is a problem that this is 1,500 to 2,500 crore business ആണ് ഞാൻ പറയുന്നത്. Okay? So basically നമ്മൾ ബ്ലഡ് എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും എടുക്കുക ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട്? കുത്തിയെടുക്കാം. Pricking. എത്ര പേര് prick ചെയ്യാൻ താല്പര്യമുള്ളവരുണ്ട്? എല്ലാ മാസവും prick ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുമോ? Every month, then certain physiological reasons due to menstruation, etc., the females are bound to have it. That is in there. So this is the situation that government is going to face. Nearly around 57.9% of pregnant women are anemic. Now, anemic is oxygen carrying capacity കുറവാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അമ്മയ്ക്ക് തന്നെ ഓക്സിജൻ കിട്ടുന്നില്ല, കുട്ടിക്ക് കിട്ടുമോ? പൊതുവേ തുപ്പൽ എപ്പോഴോ ഗർഭിണി. But this is the situation that is there. So how the government is going to address this? How can government do this? And how could we do this? This is a problem that we are having here. How could we solve this? എല്ലാ ടാബ്ലറ്റ്സ് നമുക്ക് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ല. ഫസ്റ്റ് എന്തോ ഇല്ലെന്ന് അറിയണം. First we need to understand that whether they are having or not. So we need to have an invasive procedure, non-invasive. So there is something known as a new technology. This is a new technology that is coming up. So basically, what is that? This will send a particular rays in the sense of light and so it will go inside based on the reflection. So you spectrophotometry this will work. Light to go and that we calculate on that. Based on that, this will. So it is parameters. We capture blood, oxygen saturation, heart rate, etc. Everything we can capture. So if we give the same technology to Anganwadi workers, what is the advantage?
They can know which family.
They can pregnant women, they can identify.
Correct. So we are trying to address the root cause, but this comes with a cost because it's an innovative technology, right? So they charge premium. Now, as a researcher, we need to scale it. So whatever data that is coming up, it will start to learn, and this will be given to the local, in the sense, technicians. They start by themselves. Now, the same thing what is going to happen is that for non-communicable disease, cardiac problems, it is going to high because already diabetic capital. Obviously, diabetic cardiac problems will be on a higher side. So this also the parameters are checked through this. So number one, data, some checking and test result, test reports and result.
WhatsApp.
Other than the profile of people are using smart watches for checking their daily running rate or steps up, calorie burn, etc. Then you add all these parameters. Irregular data you start to add into them. What is this one? Already so this is what AI is going to do. So this is the profile. So emergency room, etc. The personalization level will be so fast. Now the same involved here is that the disease detection and forecasting will become personalized. Then early detection and diagnosis time will be reduced. The only problem here is that before we have contact numbers, signature, in the health status and what is system. So that is one aspect that is going to happen. That is one aspect that is going to happen. When we are making a table for our portal, ഒരു ടേബിളിൽ നെറ്റിയാണെങ്കിൽ അത് പറയുന്നത് എന്താണ് പറയുക, ടേബിൾ കുത്തി ചെയ്യണോ, കൊളസ്ട്രോൾ ഇത്ര ഇല്ലേ. So ആ ഒരു ലെവലോട്ടാണ്, that is the kind of level at which AI is going to do this. Now break ആണോ, പിടിച്ച് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്, break for 5 minutes.